Can you reach spiritual enlightenment at will? I believe the answer is yes. Through many years of exploration, contemplation, and study, I managed to boil down the path to enlightenment to an exact science. I discovered the different stages and the necessary steps one has to go through to attain this elusive state of consciousness. And it is not just a theory. Everything I'm speaking about, I also experienced. I personally went through all these stages and steps, and in the end, I became enlightened myself. In this video, I'd like to give you a general overview of the entire Rebirth Academy, so you'll know what to expect during these 9 months. Let me give you the big picture first, and then I'll show you the different steps one by one. The Rebirth Academy consists of 2 big parts: therapy and self-realization. In the first part, you are functioning from your personality, while in the second part, from your individuality, and then from your higher self. Personality is social, individuality is personal, but you are universal. First, you need to realize who you are not, and then you can discover who you are. The good news is that you are already consciousness itself. You are already enlightened in a way. You don't have to change. You don't have to become anybody else. You don't have to add anything to yourself. But the bad news is that while you don't have to add anything, you have to eliminate many things from your consciousness to make it pure. Unless you were raised by 2 enlightened parents, you need therapy, even if you don't realize it now. You inherited your main emotional pattern from them, which is still affecting you subconsciously to this day. You also took up many limiting beliefs from the environment around you through the years. These unconscious emotions and thoughts are directing your life right now, and until you don't get rid of them, you can't hope to attain enlightenment. But while the goal of traditional psychotherapy is to create a healthy ego, here the goal is to drop the ego altogether. When this happens, you successfully move on to the next stage, self-realization. The second part of the academy is about liberating your suppressed individuality, finding your unique talents, discovering your life purpose, manifesting the life of your dreams, strengthening your intuition, and living an inspired and fulfilling life. Only at the very end do we speak about meditation, oneness, and enlightenment. This is one of the reasons why this course is so different from others. Instead of trying to force the mind into meditation, we are simply preparing the ground for it. Instead of rushing towards the experience of oneness, we are simply setting the right circumstances for it. Instead of chasing enlightenment, we are creating such a strong foundation for it that it will happen almost automatically. Because the more you hurry, the more you delay. Now that you have the big picture, let's see the individual steps in detail. Each step or stage comes with a corresponding color, gesture, affirmation, and goal. The name of the stage describes its general topic and subject area. The color of each step is related to its qualities. For example, the color of death is black, so it relates to the 5th step. There is a certain order of colors, just like in alchemy, but unique to immortology. We start with a brown piece of stuff that represents your ego, your material attachments, and your body. This is the base matter that we want to turn into gold in the end. We take this and heat it up with the help of energy until it becomes red. We apply a slowly burning fire until the flame becomes orange and then yellow. Psychologically, this means that we gradually burn away all attachments to the body, emotions, and thoughts. We separate them from the ego until it collapses unto itself and dies. In this phase, all that's left is a black mass of the old self containing the seed of the true self. And from the ashes of your personality, you slowly start your rebirth. Your task is to guard the growth of this green sprout with great care and love. When it meets the blue sky, it becomes visible. It expresses itself visually, just like your hidden individuality and talents manifest in this phase. The plant grows into a beautiful purple flower. It reaches its full potential. The seed, or your true self, actualizes itself totally. But there's one more step left. We forgot about the most important ingredient in the process, the sun. The sun symbolizes consciousness itself. In the first part, the sun's focused rays burned away the personality, meaning you became conscious of the body, the emotions and thoughts, and that's how you got detached from them. In the second part, the sun fueled the growth of the plant, meaning it was also your consciousness that grew you. The sun's color is gold, while its rays are white. In the last step, you have to become the sun itself, pure consciousness itself, not only to step into the light, but become the light itself, become enlightened. That's how you transmute yourself into gold. That's the real inner alchemy. The hand gestures are very unique but helpful elements of immortology. I took the idea from the ancient art of the ninjas, but I made some variations in their meanings, and also in the gestures themselves. They work like psychological triggers, in that they help you focus your mind to a given state of consciousness. In India, they are called mudras, and in hypnosis, they are one form of the so-called post-hypnotic suggestions. First, you create the desired emotional and mental state, for example, the state of being aware of your thoughts. Then, you apply the corresponding hand gesture, and with this, you create a connection between the two. You do this again and again. You sort of condition your brain to anchor the state to the gesture. When the connection is strong enough, the trigger can evoke the corresponding state. So, after a while, just by holding your hands in a certain position, your mind will automatically focus on being aware of thoughts, in this example. Throughout the academy, I suggest you to use these gestures extensively whenever you can. The hand gestures are further strengthened by powerful affirmations. These are certain sentences you have to say out loud or in yourself when you want to achieve a certain state of awareness. In the example above, you would make the fourth hand gesture while saying the affirmation, I am aware of the thoughts. The affirmations are not simple mantras, so you really have to become aware of your thoughts when you're using them. The last thing that belongs to a stage is a certain goal. In an ideal case, you shouldn't continue with the next step until you haven't reached the goal associated with the current one. However, I still urge you to follow the timeline of the academy, because the breakthrough may happen anytime. Although the goals build on each other, you may reach more than one goal at a time in certain cases. These milestones are usually certain kinds of states of consciousness, like the experience of unconditional love. Now, let's see the first stage, the body. It's the temple of the soul and the foundation of all spiritual growth. Without understanding the body and being physically healthy, there's no growth possible. The color of this step is brown, which represents the importance of grounding. The corresponding hand gesture is the following, and the affirmation is, I am aware of the body. The goal of this stage is to have better body awareness using your senses. When you're totally aware of the body, you can easily step out of it and achieve the secondary goal, an out-of-body experience. In the first part of the academy, understanding the given subject and then releasing your attachments to it is the key. That's why you don't say, I am aware of my body, in the affirmation. Instead, use the more neutral word the to be less attached to it from the very beginning. Topics in the first step include the 4 basic elements: grounding, instinct, physical health, body awareness, out-of-body experience, and conscious sensing exercises. In the second step, the subject is energy. Energy is the bridge between your body and your emotions, and plays an important part in spiritual healing. Its color is red, which represents activity and sexuality. The related hand gesture is this, and the affirmation is, I am aware of the energy. The goal in this stage is to make you more sensitive to energy, using it for healing and for sex transmutation. Topics include aura sensing, chakra healing, chakra theory, the 5 bodies, and sexuality. The third step subject area is the world of emotions. Emotions are often misunderstood or not understood at all. I will show you what emotions really are, where they come from, and how they fit into the body-mind system. Emotional mastery is the most critical step of therapy. Here, the color is orange, and the gesture looks like this. And while you're doing it, say, I am aware of the emotions. The goal is to release emotional blocks and toxic parental patterns. I will speak about breathing exercises, emotional roots of diseases, sensing emotions, emotional balance, and discovering your main pattern. The next step is about thoughts, the mind and the ego. While emotion is the queen, mind is the king of the body-mind system. Thus, mental wellness is the basis of every kind of growth and health. You will understand why and how thoughts appear, and how to calm the mind. We will also start dissolving the ego in this step. The color of this step is yellow, and its hand gesture is the motto, I am aware of the thoughts. As you can guess, the goal of this step is better awareness of thoughts so that you can step out of the mind. Other subjects include dissolving conditioning and limiting beliefs, ego purification, shadow work, and being in the present. The fifth stage is the stage of death. This is the turning point where your therapy is completed and your personality dissolves. When the old way of functioning ends to give way to something entirely new. Its color is black, as it represents the dark night of the soul. The hand gesture looks like this, and the affirmation is, I am aware of death, as the goal of this stage is death awareness and ego death. By the way, we use the same gesture for greeting and saying memento mori, which basically has the same meaning. This is because mindfulness of death is the most important teaching in immortology. Accordingly, topics include the nature of death, the denial of death, the 7 stages of death and death awareness, and related exercises. The 6th step is the beginning of the growth stage, rebirth. It is not a physical, but a psychological rebirth in your current lifetime. The seed of consciousness that was previously overshadowed by your ego can now start growing freely without barriers. Its color is green, as it symbolizes the season of spring. In a way, your real self springs into life again. The hand gesture is this. The affirmation is, I am love. Notice that from this point on, we don't use the word aware. That's because before we wanted to become detached from the subject, but now we want to become the subject itself. The goal of this stage is to experience spiritual rebirth and unconditional love. We will speak about balance, beliefs versus direct experience, becoming a mystic, levels of freedom, the womb, darkness meditation, and fake versus true love. After rebirth comes the stage of creativity. This is when your newly found individuality starts to manifest itself in the world. The color is blue as the symbol of self-expression and clarity. The related gesture is the following, and the affirmation is, I am creative. The goal is to trust your abilities, create your life consciously, and express yourself uniquely. Topics include getting rid of conditioning, becoming authentic, discovering your individuality, centering, self-expression, motivation, finding your purpose, visualization, manifestation, the 3 levels of creativity, and creating a legacy. In the 8th stage of the Rebirth Academy, you will learn to use your intuition. This is your inner guidance system that will ultimately lead you to enlightenment. The color of this step is violet, as the color of wisdom and vision. The gesture on this step looks like this, and the affirmation is the following: I am intuitive. Therefore, the goal here is finding intuition and inspiration. The subjects I included here are the law of attraction, concentration, personal development versus spiritual growth, action through inaction, intention versus inspiration, developing intuition, inner versus outer path, free will versus destiny, synchronicity, and surrender. Last but not least, the final step, the culmination of the entire academy, is about oneness, non-duality, and enlightenment. The moment you achieve the realization that everything is one, you become enlightened. The corresponding color is white, as the color of purity and light, the opposite of black. The gesture used here is this, and the affirmation is simply I am. The goal of this step is to experience the state of oneness and spiritual enlightenment. Topics include pure meditation, contemplation, importance of being alone, obstacles to meditation, becoming the witness, inner versus outer world, self-inquiry, the nature of reality, set and setting, definition of enlightenment, fake versus true happiness, lucid dreaming, and direct methods to enlightenment. These are the 9 steps to enlightenment, and this is what's waiting for you in the following 9 months. I truly hope that you have the commitment, dedication, and courage to follow this path all the way to the end. Sure, there will be ups and downs along the way, but I promise you that it's all worth it eventually. I wish you a great journey. Memento mori.